morning. How is everybody doing? Good morning. Hi. It is so exciting to be here today. I can't wait to get started on our training. Say hi to me. Let me know if you can see me and you can hear me. I want to see how you're doing. Hello. Can you hear me? Is everything good? Everybody able to see me and hear me? Just like to make sure before I get started, then people are telling me, oh no, we have some issues in the middle of the training. Let's get started. All right.
Hey there, this is Tanya Wright from thenaturalhomeschool.com, the place for homeschool and Montessori lovers ready to make themselves centered, organized teachers, nurture happy children, and create smooth and successful days. Let's get you closer to your transformation today. Welcome.
Yay, we're back. Good morning. How are you? Let me know if you can hear me okay. I am so glad that you are here because today's topic is excellent and I think you will find it very helpful. So, welcome to the Natural Homeschool Show. I am so glad that you are here. Be sure to follow us on social media at the Natural Homeschool. And if you are a homeschooler, join our Facebook group. You can see it down here at the bottom. It is called the Natural Homeschool Community. We talk all things Montessori and all things homeschool and all things everything, mom life, everything. So don't feel like you can't join unless you're doing Montessori. And if you do Montessori homeschooling or not, join our other Facebook group called the Montessori Way Prep Room. Both groups are safe places that will help you grow in your journey, whether it's Montessori or homeschool or both. Speaking of growth, you might want to take notes during the training because if it doesn't apply to you right now, it might apply to you soon or at some point, or maybe you can help someone that's going through this. Now, what happens if you are enjoying these trainings and have to go deeper or want to go deeper in these topics? Well, you know that my time here is limited and I want to be respectful of your time too. I can't be sitting here all day taking up all of your time, but I can always answer your questions after the training. Just post them in the comments below and I'll be happy to come back and answer them. But you can also sign up for my weekly emails. I always go deeper in the topic for that week's live show, and I give you the link to the website for the blog. There's more information there. There's the links to all the resources that I might mention and just go in deeper. So if you are interested, let me give you the link to the, let me grab it real fast and show it to you, and I will post it in comments. So you can sign up for the emails. Let me show it and post it. You just go there, sign up. You get an email every week with the show's topic, and you can, there it goes, and you can just benefit from this topic even more, okay? So the link is in comments. Go ahead and grab that if you want to sign up. So let's get started with the topic. What do you know what it means to be a Montessori guide? I asked in my social media, in several Montessori groups, in several Facebook groups, on Instagram, I asked, do you know what it means to be a Montessori guide? And I was surprised at so many that were in Montessori groups and did not know what that meant. So I said, okay, that's a good topic to start with to talk about. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what the Montessori guide is and how that title differs from a traditional school teacher. So come and find out some of the main and unique pillars for this wonderful job. Yes, it is a job, whether you are doing it at home or not. Uh, a lot of you are doing Montessori at home right now because of the pandemic and some of the Montessori schools are closed, or you just decided that you want to homeschool and try out this wonderful method, and that is wonderful too. That's great. So today we're going to be talking about you are the Montessori guide. That's what we're talking about. You are the Montessori guide. It's not a book. You can say, oh, here's a guide. We usually use the term guide as in a pamphlet or a book, a manual. But no, you are the guide. You, the human being, the adult in the Montessori environment. You are the Montessori guide. So let's talk about that. Let me know in comments if you know about the topic, what you have applied as being the Montessori guide, if it's the first time that you hear the term Montessori guide, if you have noticed the differences between a regular teacher and a Montessori guide. I'm going to give you just a little bit today because my time is limited and I don't want to take all of your day talking about it because I could. There's just so much to talk about. But I want to tell you that I will be going into this particular topic for an entire training, for an entire hour during the free 5-day workshop called the Montessori Way Foundations Workshop, and enrollment is open now. I'm going to be giving you the link in a minute, and you can sign up really fast. It only takes a minute. If you want to get the emails to sign up, okay, you can. I'm going to put it in comments as well. Because if you want to sign up and you want to hear about all about this, then you definitely want to sign up for the free 5-day workshop. And it's live. It's just like this show, but it's going to be Monday through Friday for an hour. And we're going to be talking about the pillars of Montessori foundations, things that you need to know to do Montessori right. It's free. 5 days live workshop. If you do all 5, you download, you get, you sign up, you download the email, you download the workshop workbook, you print it out, you fill it out while I'm doing the training, and let me give you the link. There we go. I'm putting it in comments so you guys can just sign up. It only takes a second and then you'll start receiving the emails. So you're going to sign up, get the email. The email will give you the link to the workbook. Get the workbook, show up live. The replay will be open for a limited amount of time, just for a few days after the workshop is over. And if you want a certificate of completion, then you definitely want to complete all of it. But I will give you all of that information in the email, so make sure you sign up. All right, so let's go back to it. I'm not going to go super, super deep today because I don't want to take all of your day, but let me highlight a few of the important traits that a Montessori guide ought to have. Why do we call ourselves guides as opposed to teachers, for instance? In the Montessori method, we are not teachers, at least not in the conventional sense. We are not in the front of the classroom. I think I mentioned this before in our trainings. I'm not standing up in front of a classroom, everybody facing me, everybody paying attention to me. It's not teacher centered. And everybody has to do the same thing at the same time. The Montessori environment is very free, it's very organic. So everybody goes with their learning interest, and you're just guiding the dynamic in the classroom or in the environment. So we don't call it classroom very often. Instead, we are the people who put the children in touch with the world around them, their Montessori environment, as we follow their interests based on their precious sensitive periods. So we prepare the environment and let the children be their own teachers, and in some cases, let the older children be the teachers of the younger ones. And that I've discussed before in the multi-age grouping and all the research that goes behind that, and how wonderfully it works in the Montessori philosophy. So I want to reiterate that you do some of the teaching, you do lesson presentations, so you do have to tell the children how the Montessori works are supposed to be used step by step. So you are doing the teaching, but you're not in front of the classroom all day long writing on a chalkboard and children copying your work and you are lecturing them. It's more of a one-on-one, okay? So let me know if you have any questions while I'm talking about things. Maria Montessori, the founder of the Montessori method, famously said that when she was looking for a guide, ideally, she would like to find someone that wasn't actually a teacher. Shocker, huh? To be more precise, Maria Montessori was looking for someone with no preconceived notions of what it means to teach. This is because traditional teaching looks very different from Montessori learning. And that's why I'm excited to delve deeper into this topic inside the free 5-day workshop with you. The Montessori guide does two things: observe and follow. And what does that mean? The guide will sit back and observe the children as they work in the Montessori environment with their sensitive periods chart and notes in hand. She will determine where the child is. Then she will take all of the information that she gathered to follow the child. So let me show you the first slide. We're talking about what the Montessori guide is, and it's you. So this means that she will set up the Montessori environment to target those open sensitive periods and let the child unleash all of the learning through curiosity, self-motivation, and flowing in their interests. So your takeaway today for point 1 is to observe and follow. Let me know what you think, if you agree. Okay? What do you think? Is that working for you? Yes? Say a yes or a no. Point number 2, moving on. You are the mastermind behind it all. So not because you're not in front of a classroom and everybody's following your lead and you're lecturing everyone for hours on end and everybody's doing the same activity that you're dictating, it doesn't mean that you don't have an essential part in the Montessori environment. On the contrary. So let's get into point number 2. You are the mastermind behind it all in the Montessori environment. You, as the Montessori guide, so start calling yourself the Montessori guide, you are the mastermind behind it all. There are many misconceptions about Montessori education that I hear about every single day. And I really want to dispel this at the snap of a finger, but the truth is that it isn't as easy to do. So let's just start with the basics. And I know that some of you have mentioned to me that you love the method, but people just don't understand it. So this will be a really good point for you to be able to explain to those people about what the Montessori guide is, the misconceptions. People are not understanding how children can possibly learn without a teacher lecturing them. But that is the mentality that we have. And that is what makes the Montessori method so unique. So, one of the biggest misconceptions is that children are on their own in the Montessori environment to teach themselves. Part of it is true, yes. I said it in point number one, but not the whole truth, as it tends to give people the wrong idea. They say, why would I pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month to send my child to a Montessori school if they're going to be teaching themselves? That is not the right idea on what teaching yourself means. It doesn't mean that the teacher is non existent. It doesn't mean that children are left on their own in the classroom or that there is no guidance. The big truth in this is that the Montessori method wants to instill an awe for learning in young children. And that awe grows as older children develop a strong enough passion for learning to have them mentor their younger counterparts. So that's how you know that children have mastered the material, because they're able to teach it to others. They're able to apply it and explain it. Sometimes you can do something yourself, but explaining it and actually teaching it to someone can be really hard. So make sure that you understand that part. When a child is able to teach someone else, you say, oh, but I'm homeschooling and I only have the one child, or I have two children, but one is too young. And how can I make sure that the child has mastered the material? Well, they can teach you. You can pretend, tell them to pretend that you don't know how that work is to be used, and have them practice on you and explain the verbalization of the step by step, and listening to the reasoning is so helpful to you. It gives you a lot of information as the Montessori guide to know whether the child has mastered the material or if there's still a little bit of work to do, a little bit more practice. All right. But the bigger truth of all is that even though the focus is on the child, so it's a child-centered environment, the Montessori guide is the mastermind behind the scenes. You're the one that creates, you're the one that oils the wheels, that sets up the activities following the Montessori principles. You are observing and following the child, and you are the spark of that love for learning. When children watch you and how much you love learning, then you're lighting that little fire inside of them to have that passion. So you, the Montessori guide, are instrumental, essential, and elemental in the Montessori environment. Now, because you are behind the scenes, you're not the center of attention. It is a child-centered environment. That doesn't mean that you're not important. You are more important than you know. You will be part of children's lives in many ways, not just academic subjects. You will be teaching life skills and character traits as well, such as grace and courtesy and practical life. Your goal today is to give yourself the value that you deserve and know that you are important. You are the important brains in your lovely Montessori adventure. So give yourself some credit. You're not the center of attention, but at the same time, you are the mastermind behind it all. So let me talk to you about point number 3 in a second. But first, let me talk to you a little bit about something exciting.
Thank you for listening to the show. Stay tuned for more. Have you been wondering how to go about doing Montessori successfully or learn more about this wonderful method? Are you lost when it comes to planning Montessori lessons and know how to help children with this wonderful method? Are you constantly doubting yourself, not being sure you're presenting the lessons correctly to a child no matter what subject it is? Are you ready to become a centered, organized Montessori guide and nurture happy, normalized children? What about loving the idea to know how to create smooth, successful Montessori days? Let me introduce you to the Montessori Way Foundations Framework, a 6-month journey to a firm foundation in the Montessori method. Visit us at thenaturalhomeschool.com/TMWFF.
Welcome back. All right, so point number 3, you do give guidance. That's why you're called the guide. You are not always teaching, you are guiding. You are that light in the darkness, showing the children the way. And I'm going to read to you a quote by Maria Montessori. You can find it in her book, The Secret of Childhood. That is wonderful. Let me go ahead and read it. It says, "But when work is the result of an inner instinctive impulse, it assumes a wholly different character. Such work is fascinating, irresistible, and it raises man above deviations and inner conflicts. Such is the work of the inventor or discoverer, the heroic efforts of the explorer, or the compositions of the artist. That is to say, the work of men gifted with such an extraordinary power as to enable them to rediscover the instinct of their species and the patterns of their own individuality." I know that's a mouthful. Maria Montessori was very well educated and very thoughtful in her writings. So, this quote basically is giving you a glimpse of this is not just a child. She is actually putting into words what the child encompasses, the idea of the child's potential. And it's huge. You can really impact the world and change the world by impacting one child's life. And that's how important you are. You give guidance and don't take that lightly, even if you are not the center of attention in the classroom. It is a child-centered environment. So it is in no way suggesting that the guide in the Montessori environment does not take an active part in the education of the child. It's quite the opposite, actually. Your role in the environment is essential because so much of the success in it hinges on your centering yourself before serving the children. You need to keep that in mind. Not because you're working in the background instead of the foreground, it means that your work is not important or life-changing, because it is. It really is. Instead of providing answers to children or doing things for them, the Montessori guide will patiently ask children to devise ideas on how they would solve a problem, actively involving them in the thinking and the learning process to enhance those awesome critical thinking skills. Nowadays, common sense is not very common anymore. We are finding a deep plunge in logical thinking. So, by the Montessori guide, guiding the children through the thinking process, the rationale, um, making sure that they're able to verbalize their thoughts and the way that they're thinking is instrumental in the Montessori environment. And one precious thing about the Montessori philosophy is that we don't just see academics as educating the child, we see the entire environment as a learning experience. Everything that children do in the environment is precious and is a learning experience. They will learn it the right way or the wrong way. So when you are the Montessori guide, you are centered, you understand your why, then you're going to be a great example for them. You're going to spark that love for learning, that passion for learning. This one small thing, while it requires a lot of time and patience for you to not do things for children, even though it would be a lot easier, you have to restrain yourself. It requires a lot of time and patience. It will do so much for them, not only in the immediate future, but for the rest of their lives, because they learn to do it themselves. And you know what? As you practice this more and more in your Montessori environment, you will notice that in most cases, the children you work with will actually learn directly from the environment and from other children rather than you. Isn't that mind blowing? What a concept, isn't it? It's a great, great thing to talk about. So that's why ask me any questions, write them down in comments while I wrap this up for today. I'm going to go back to the first slide, the topic. You are the Montessori guide. Don't forget about it. It's not a book. Yes, there are some precious books, wonderful books that you can use, that you can read to gain knowledge, but you are the guide in the environment. This can be a guide for you to learn the Montessori philosophy, the reasoning behind it. But in the Montessori environment, these are not. You are the human adult, the living person in the environment is the guide, and that is you. So don't take that lightly. I want to invite you to join the Montessori Way Foundation's workshop because it is open for enrollment right now. It is free. It is completely free. And it's going to take place. Let me move the slide up a little bit because it doesn't show the link. There we go. So you go to the naturalhomeschool.com/TMWFF-workshop. It's still not showing it right. It's still covering it. Let me see. Is that better? It keeps wanting to grow, get bigger. All right. I'm going to post it again in the comments. You're going to go and sign up. It is free. It is 5 days. It is live. You show up. Oh, yeah, Patty, I'll give you the titles. And you're going to sign up. It's free. It's live Monday through Friday, October 26th through the 30th. You show up with me in the morning. I will train you about 5 topics, and I'm going to show you the workbook. You're going to get a workbook in your email when you sign up. You download it, print it, have it ready because you will fill out some really important information about the foundations of the Montessori philosophy that you're going to love, and it's going to be super helpful for you. And we're going to talk about the 4 pillars of the Montessori philosophy. We're going to talk about the prepared environment. We're going to talk about the normalized children and what that means. That's a phrase that Maria Montessori used a lot. The normalized children. What does that mean? And how does that bring children to a better learning experience, a successful learning experience? We're going to be talking about you, the Montessori Guide. We're going to delve deeper into it. Today was just a taste, but that day, the entire hour is going to be training on just you. And then we're going to be talking about the next step for you for Montessori success. So we're going to be going deep. I have been getting some amazing reviews from the workshop, and I keep getting requests. When are you doing it again? When are you doing it again? Well, I've made some tweaks. So if you have taken it, if you took it back in June, you will want to take it again. It's going to be awesome. So sign up. Make sure that you go to the link and sign up. And Patty, I'm going to post these titles for the two books in the comments right after the show is over, so I can actually type them up. But this one is The Montessori Method by Maria Montessori, very basic. The creator of the Montessori method is Maria Montessori. So she wrote this book about the Montessori philosophy, and it is wonderful. It is, I will tell you, a little bit hard reading because she originally wrote it in Italian, and she was a scholar. She was very educated with multiple degrees, and her level of writing was pretty high. So sometimes it's a little hard to decipher it, but take it little chunks at a time. There are so many precious gems in here. And this one is Montessori, a Modern Approach, and it's not by Maria Montessori. It's by Paula Polk Lillard. She is a great author. She does a really good job at taking the Montessori philosophy and modernizing it, applying it to today's world, because the Montessori method actually started around 100 years ago. It's still super popular, it's still super successful, it works just fine, but she made it a little more approachable for the everyday person. So I will have these titles if you are interested for you to purchase if you wanted to start your reading. These are great, great books to discuss. And then if you check my blog tomorrow, thenaturalhomeschool.com, if you check it tomorrow, Friday, you are going to see the blog post with a lot of information, with the replay for this training, the resources, the links to the resources, everything is in there. So every time I have a training, I edit the video, I upload it, and I write a blog post with all the details in there. So you can check it out there tomorrow. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the training, if you want to delve deeper and you want to learn more, and make sure that you don't miss that additional information about this topic if you're really interested, then you can do our weekly emails. And in the weekly emails, it's called Let's Dive Deeper. That one is going to send, I'm going to send an email to you with the link to the blog post. I upload it to the oh, there it is. I was typing it. Yep, I'm gonna put it in comments. If you want to delve deeper into the Montessori topics and I give you the link, you don't miss it. I upload it to my podcast so you can listen to it. This training will also be on video, so you can watch it, listen to it, or read it, or all three. I have it all right there for you, including all the resources. So I mentioned these books today. The links to these books are going to be in there as well. Just a little tip. So if you want to remember on your own to check thenaturalhomeschool.com, it'll be the newest blog post on the page, and you will see it right there as you load it. It'll be the latest post every Friday. But if you want to get the reminder, then sign up for the weekly emails, and that's how you will definitely find out that the blog post is there with the link, take you exactly to where you need to go, and then you can reference it anytime that you want. All right, so do you have any questions, any comments before we head out? It's all good? Yes? All right, if you still have questions and you forgot, and then all of a sudden something pops in your mind, make sure that you comment and I will come back and answer you. All right, see you next week.
I appreciate you sharing time with me today. You have tons of choices about what you're listening to, and I love that you chose the Natural Homeschool Show. Thank you. Well, that's it for today. Until next time, this is Tanya Wright with thenaturalhomeschool.com. I hope that you will use this training to create solutions that will bring about smooth, successful days for you. Let's get you closer to that transformation today.